Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So unless you've been living in some kind of Wi-Fi-less cave for the past several years, you probably have already heard about how popular low-carb, in particular ketogenic diets have become, especially amongst those who are seeking to lose weight. And there's all sorts of stories you read about online, testimonials, news stories about how people have lost all this weight pretty much effortlessly just by giving up carbohydrates, it seems. So I'm going to present kind of a counterpoint to that. I'm going to show you 4 reasons why you might want to think about trying a ketogenic diet. There are some dangers and negatives to consider. So the first thing I want to bring up is weight loss, because that's what gets people all excited when they first get into keto diets, how quickly it seems that they lose all this weight. What people don't realize though is they're not really losing fat, they're losing water weight. So what most beginning keto dieters don't understand is when you restrict carbohydrates, your body's glycogen levels are depleted. And glycogen is responsible for water retention. So when its levels fall, so does your water retention levels. So you weigh yourself after a few days or a few weeks on a keto diet, and you go, wow, I've lost all this weight. I've burned through all this fat. When the reality is you probably just lost a bunch of water. And sadly, if you ever in the future start eating carbohydrates again, your body's glycogen levels will increase, and so will probably your weight. And a second thing to consider, and I don't see too many pro-keto advocates mentioning this fact conveniently, is that you'll probably not smell all that great while in keto. And this has to do with the fact that since you're restricting or reducing your carbohydrates, your body's now producing ketones, and these ketones get released through your breath. And it's a pretty rank smell. I have to admit I've smelled it on many of my keto friends, and it's kind of a mix, as this article says here, between like acetone and rotted fruit. And in addition to like breath smell, I smell it from many of these people's bodies too. Also, remember how your restricting carbs causes you to lose water weight? Well, that can produce a persistently dry mouth, which can also make your breath smell even worse. A third thing to consider are the potential health risks from giving up carbohydrates, which are plants, and eating more animal products, which are rich in, say, cholesterol and saturated fat. This study, released just 2 months ago by the European Society of Cardiology, doesn't mince their words here. Its title is "Low Carbohydrate Diets Are Unsafe and Should Be Avoided." The study's authors come right out and say that those consuming a low-carb diet were at increased risk for not only all-cause mortality, but individual diseases such as coronary heart disease, cancer, and stroke. Compared to those in the study that had the highest carbohydrate intake, and I'm sure I'd be in that camp, those with the lowest intake had a 32% higher risk of all-cause mortality. And in addition, risk of death from coronary heart disease and stroke went up 50% and cancer by 35%. So how can this be? Well, the authors of the study didn't find it was a huge mystery. It's because when you give up things like whole food plants and you replace these foods with animal products, as I said, which are higher in saturated fat and cholesterol, and animal products, specifically processed and red meat, have been categorized by the World Health Organization as Group 1 and 2A carcinogens, it's no mystery that your risk of death increases. So this study's author comes right out and concludes, our study highlights an unfavorable association between low-carb diets and total and cause-specific death. And these findings suggest that low-carb diets are unsafe and should not be recommended. To flip this around, I've yet to see any study which comes out and says, yeah, eating whole food plants is horrible. Yeah, give up eating fruits and vegetables and legumes because you will die. I've yet to see that study. And you might be thinking, well, this study was funded by a bunch of, for all we know, a bunch of radical vegan activists. Well, if you look at the sources of funding and conflict of interest here, we don't see any big broccoli or big lettuce groups here. No conflicts, no sources of funding. And if having bad breath and a potential death by heart attack or stroke are of absolutely no concern to you, perhaps you'll be concerned about us humans and all creatures on this planet not having a habitable planet in, say, a decade or two. It's shocking, but most people are completely unaware that animal agriculture is the #1 source of greenhouse gases. Yes, even topping transportation. And it gets even more frightening once you factor in the effects of methane, which is released from cow farts, and methane is 25 to 100 times more destructive than carbon dioxide on a 20-year time frame. And that's why the United Nations has been sounding the alarms to push people and countries to eat meat and dairy-free diets. The UN flat out says that a global shift towards a vegan diet, no animal products whatsoever, is vital to help save the world from the worst impacts of climate change. And I'm going to throw out one more benefit for not going on a keto diet and doing a vegan diet, particularly a whole food plant-based diet like what we do here on Happy Healthy Vegan, is that no animals will need to die in order for you to live. Just think about that. No animals will need to die in order for you to live. Why would we need to kill animals needlessly when obviously we don't have to, or else I should be dead if animal products were necessary. And that's what originally got me to go vegan in the first place, just realizing that animals don't need to die in order for me to live. And it's pretty frightening when you think about it. 70 billion animals are killed each year needlessly for people to eat them. So let's make this a better planet, not only for ourselves and the planet, but for its animal inhabitants too. So leave your questions and comments down below. Are you new to a ketogenic diet? Have you thought about any of these issues that I brought up? Will they make an impact on you? Will you reconsider keto now? So let me know your thoughts down below. And if you like this video, hit like. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and hit that notification bell. A lot of you guys said you're not getting notified for our new videos. So all of you just go and double check. So until next time, guys, let's keep it carb, baby. Keep it carb. Whole food plants.
You've got me spinning.